There are days when the air carries a different quality of invitation, when the usual resistance that surrounds difficult decisions or long postponed actions seems to soften slightly, as though something in the atmosphere has shifted its position and left a door temporarily, quietly ajar. March 15th is one of those days. Miss India Monroe, an astrologer and timing researcher who has spent decades studying the relationship between planetary alignments and the lived texture of human decision-making, describes the approach of Mars to Mercury as a day when the gap between knowing what you need to do and actually doing it becomes unusually small. There is also a particular reason why words spoken on this specific day carry a weight that the same words spoken a week earlier or later would not. And that reason changes how a person might choose to use the hours of March 15th. If calm, carefully considered evenings are what bring you here, you've arrived at exactly the right moment. What this alignment activates in ordinary people, without requiring any special preparation, is closer and more practical than most accounts of destiny windows tend to suggest. Why March 15 carries unusual energetic authority. Not every date on the calendar holds the same quality of energetic weight, and the difference between an ordinary day and one that carries genuine authority is not arbitrary. It is produced by the specific configuration of planetary influences active at that moment. And when those configurations involve planets associated with action, drive, and momentum moving into close relationship with planets associated with communication, decision, and mental clarity, the result is a day with a very specific character. March 15th carries the authority of combined intention and expression, the energy that arrives when the impulse to act and the ability to articulate that action are briefly pointing in exactly the same direction. Ms. India Monroe has described this particular alignment as rare, not in the sense of being astronomically unusual, but in the sense of its practical human significance being unusually concentrated. Mars and Mercury approach each other periodically, but they do so in different signs, under different surrounding conditions, with different qualities of effect. This specific meeting, in Aries, a sign that governs initiative, directness, and the willingness to begin without waiting for perfect conditions, amplifies the alignment's action-oriented quality to an unusual degree. The day does not simply invite activity. It specifically invites the kind of activity that has been waiting for a quality of clarity and courage that other days didn't quite provide. The historical resonance of March 15th itself is worth noting without dwelling on it too heavily. The date has carried symbolic weight across multiple cultures and historical periods. The Romans considered the Ides of March a time of reckoning and turning, when accounts were settled and decisions could no longer be postponed. This cultural memory, embedded in the collective consciousness of many traditions, adds a layer of psychological permission to the day's energy. People who are aware of March 15th as a threshold date tend to use it as precisely that, a deadline they give themselves for finally addressing what has been circling without landing. And the alignment of Mars and Mercury this year gives that permission a genuine celestial backing. What Mars and Mercury produce when they meet. Mars governs the will to act, the force that moves a person from intention into motion, from knowing into doing, from the comfortable holding pattern of consideration into the more exposed territory of actual commitment. Mercury governs the mind's capacity to organize, articulate, and communicate, to translate the raw material of thought and feeling into language that can be shared, understood, and acted upon. When these two energies meet in close alignment, the result is something that is genuinely unusual in the landscape of a typical day: the capacity to speak and act from the same place simultaneously, without the usual lag between the two. In practical human terms, this conjunction produces a specific experience that people describe with consistent language. They feel more capable than usual of saying directly what they mean. The diplomatic softening, the hedging, the careful management of other people's reactions that ordinarily complicates expression. These feel less necessary under this alignment, and less effortful to set aside. What wants to be said arrives more readily and with more genuine energy behind it than it typically does. This is not aggression. Mars and Mercury together in a well-configured alignment produce directness, not harshness. The edge it provides is the edge of precision, not the edge of force. The subtler effect of this meeting, the one that people notice in retrospect more than in the moment, is a quality of mental momentum that carries through the day. Ideas that were previously stuck in the consideration phase begin to move. Projects that required a first sentence before they could continue find their first sentence arriving with unusual ease. Conversations that were being circled around finally find their entry point. There is a productive friction between Mars's urgency and Mercury's articulateness that, when working in harmony, produces a kind of focused forward energy that is genuinely rare in ordinary time, and worth using with intention while it is available. A man named Gerald had been meaning to write a letter to his estranged brother for nearly 2 years. Every time he sat down to begin, the right words refused to come. On a mid-March morning, with a cup of coffee cooling beside him, the words simply arrived. He wrote for 40 minutes without stopping. He sent it that afternoon. His brother called within the week. Gerald still isn't sure what changed on that particular morning, only that something did. The dormant courage this alignment finally activates. There is a particular kind of courage that lives in most people in a dormant state for long stretches of time. Not cowardice, not the absence of the courage, but the presence of it in an unactivated form, available but not yet drawn forward by sufficiently favorable conditions. This dormant courage is different from the acute courage required in a crisis, which tends to activate automatically. It is the quieter kind, the courage to initiate a difficult conversation, to begin something whose outcome cannot be guaranteed, to make a commitment that requires genuine exposure before the results are known. March 15th, under the influence of this alignment, is one of the days most reliably associated with the activation of precisely this variety of quiet courage. Ms. India Monroe describes the mechanism behind this activation with a simple image. Most people's courage requires a running start. They need to feel ready before they begin, and the readiness almost never arrives fully formed before the action itself. What the Mars-Mercury alignment does is temporarily reduce the distance between the current state and the readiness state, making the beginning possible before the full preparation has been completed. This is not recklessness. It is the energetic equivalent of a wind at your back. It doesn't change the nature of what you are attempting, but it meaningfully reduces the effort required to begin. The behavior shift that most clearly signals this dormant courage becoming available is one that people who experience it describe as a sudden reduction in the weight of the excuses they have been using to postpone action. The reasons for waiting that previously felt genuinely persuasive, not the right time, not ready yet, need more information first, begin to feel less convincing. Not entirely gone, but lighter, as though someone quietly reduced their gravitational pull. And in that reduction, the action that was being postponed finds that the distance between here and there has become, overnight, surprisingly walkable. As we go deeper into this video, there is a specific type of communication that this alignment is most powerfully associated with, one that most people are not thinking of as communication at all, and yet it may be the most consequential thing a person does on March 15th. Words spoken now carry surprising long-term weight. There is an ancient observation, present in many wisdom traditions, that words spoken at certain times carry more weight than the same words spoken at others. Not because the words themselves change, but because the quality of intention and conviction behind them is different, and because the conditions receiving them are more fertile. March 15th, under the Mars-Mercury alignment, is one of those times. Words spoken today, commitments made aloud, conversations finally initiated, truths finally expressed, tend to carry forward with an unusual quality of permanence. They are harder to unmake than words spoken in ordinary time. They tend to set things in motion that continue moving after the day has passed. The mechanism behind this is partly psychological and partly energetic. Psychologically, words spoken when backed by genuine courage and genuine clarity create a different kind of internal commitment than words spoken tentatively or under social pressure. The speaker remembers them differently, with more ownership, more investment, more accountability to what was said. This is the psychological dimension of why words spoken on high-energy alignment days tend to hold. The energetic dimension is harder to describe precisely, but people who track these windows consistently observe that commitments made during them have an unusually high follow-through rate, as though the energy of the alignment becomes embedded in the commitment itself, continuing to provide momentum long after the specific day has passed. The practical implication of this is worth sitting with. If there is something you have been meaning to say to someone, an expression of care, an honest concern, a request for something you genuinely need, an apology that has been waiting for the right moment, March 15th provides conditions in which those words are likely to be both easier to say and more genuinely received than they would be on most other days. The alignment doesn't guarantee outcomes, but it does provide a quality of energetic support for authentic communication that, if used intentionally, tends to produce results that continue unfolding for weeks and months beyond the day itself. The unfinished action this window finally completes. Every person carries a small inventory of unfinished actions, things that were begun but not completed, started but not followed through, decided upon but never executed. These unfinished actions occupy a particular kind of interior space, not the heavy space of major unresolved issues, but the slightly nagging space of items that have been on the list for long enough that their presence has become a background feature of daily life, rather than an active priority. The Mars-Mercury alignment of March 15th is particularly effective at clearing this inventory, not all at once, but by making one or two of the longest-standing items feel suddenly, practically, completable. The reason this alignment is so effective at clearing unfinished action is the specific combination of energies it provides. Most unfinished actions remain unfinished, not because the person lacks the knowledge of what to do. They usually know exactly what the next step is. They remain unfinished because the activation energy required to begin the step has consistently exceeded what was available on any given day. Mars provides that activation energy. Mercury provides the clarity about which specific action to take first. Together, they create conditions in which the gap between knowing and doing becomes small enough to step across without a significant effort of will. Ms. India Monroe has observed, across years of tracking these alignments and their effects on her clients and students, that the unfinished action that tends to surface for completion on Mars-Mercury days is rarely the most dramatic item on the list. It tends to be the one that has been waiting longest, the one so familiar in its incompleteness that the person has almost stopped noticing it is there. And when it is finally completed, often on what feels like an impulse rather than a decision, the relief it produces is disproportionate to the size of the action itself. Completion creates space, and space opens into possibility. Why bold decisions feel clearer than usual today. The quality of mental clarity that accompanies the Mars-Mercury alignment is different from ordinary clear-headedness. It has a directional quality that ordinary clarity lacks. It is not simply that thinking is more efficient on this day, it is that thinking is more reliably oriented toward what genuinely matters. The noise that usually clutters decision-making, the consideration of others' opinions, The management of potential criticism, the habitual second-guessing, quiets slightly under this alignment's influence. What remains is the clearer signal of what the person actually knows and actually wants, without the usual static obscuring it. Bold decisions feel clearer today because the alignment temporarily shifts the balance between two competing interior voices that most people carry. One voice counsels caution, considers consequences, advocates for more time and more certainty before committing. The other voice carries the more instinctive knowledge of what is right, what is needed, what has been waiting too long to be decided. In ordinary time, these voices are roughly balanced, with caution frequently winning by virtue of being louder. Under the Mars-Mercury alignment, the instinctive voice receives a specific energetic amplification that tips the balance, not into recklessness, but into clarity. The decision that the instinctive voice has been proposing for months suddenly appears not just attractive, but obviously correct. The behavior shift associated with this quality of clarified decision-making is one that people in a person's immediate circle tend to notice before the person themselves fully registers it. They describe the person as seeming unusually settled, unusually direct, unusually free from the usual visible deliberation. They just seem to know, family members often say afterward, describing a loved one who made a significant decision on a day like this one. And the person, when asked later, tends to confirm the description. The decision didn't feel made so much as found, already complete, waiting to be acknowledged, needing only this particular day's quality of energetic permission to step into visibility. 3 things astrologers and timing researchers consistently note about Mars-Mercury alignment days that rarely make it into popular summaries. First, physical energy tends to run higher than usual. People report needing less sleep the night before and feeling more alert than their recent pattern would predict. Second, conversations initiated on these days tend to move faster and further than expected. What was planned as a brief check-in frequently becomes a significant exchange. Third, creative work attempted under this alignment often produces results that surprise the person doing it, as though the alignment is lending a quality of inspired precision that the person's usual creative effort doesn't always access. The conversation March 15th has been building toward. There are conversations that a person has been circling for weeks, sometimes months, not avoiding exactly, but not quite finding the right moment for. The right moment requires a specific combination of qualities: sufficient courage to begin, sufficient clarity to say what actually needs to be said rather than a softened version of it, and sufficient emotional stability to remain present if the conversation becomes difficult. These 3 qualities are rarely available simultaneously in ordinary time. On March 15th, under the current alignment, they tend to arrive together, and the conversation that has been waiting for all 3 finds, in this window, the conditions it has been patiently requiring. The specific quality of conversation that this alignment most powerfully supports is what communication researchers call defining the relationship. The kind of conversation in which both people acknowledge openly what their connection actually is, what they genuinely need from it, and what they are honestly willing and able to offer. These conversations are avoided in ordinary time, not because they are inherently destructive, but because they require a quality of mutual directness that most people find genuinely difficult to access without a specific energetic support. March 15th provides that support in a form that feels, to the people engaged in these conversations, less like courage summoned against resistance, and more like resistance that simply isn't as present as usual. What stalled plans suddenly find permission to move? There is a specific category of plan that most people carry, plans that are genuinely good, genuinely desired, and yet have been stalled for reasons that upon examination are more about internal hesitation than external obstacle. The project that would require more visibility than feels comfortable. the business idea that would require more financial commitment than feels safe, the creative work that would require more genuine exposure than has yet been risked. These plans are not impractical. They are simply waiting for a quality of energetic permission that ordinary time rarely delivers. March 15th, under the Mars-Mercury alignment, delivers it. The reason these stalled plans find permission to move on this specific day rather than on another is connected to the alignment's effect on risk perception. Mars's influence temporarily recalibrates the interior risk assessment, not by making risks disappear or appear smaller than they actually are, but by making the cost of inaction more visible than the cost of action. In ordinary time, the brain's risk management system tends to weigh the potential losses of attempting something against the known stability of not attempting it. Under a strong Mars influence, that calculation shifts. The cost of continued stalling becomes vivid in a way it usually isn't. And when the cost of inaction becomes as visible as the cost of action, many people find that the balance tips decisively toward moving. The plans that surface for activation on this day tend to be ones with a personal rather than purely professional character. Plans connected to who the person wants to be rather than merely what they want to achieve. A creative practice they have been meaning to establish. A skill they have been intending to develop. A way of spending their time that would bring them into closer alignment with what they genuinely value. These are the plans that Mars-Mercury energy seems most specifically to sponsor. The ones that have been waiting not for the right external conditions, but for the right interior weather. And on March 15th, the interior weather is favorable. The destiny signal hidden inside ordinary frustration. There is information inside frustration that most people never think to look for. Not the surface information, that something is not working, that patience is being strained, that a situation needs to change, but the deeper information about direction. Frustration, in its most useful form, is a compass. It points consistently toward the place where genuine capacity is pressing against an insufficient container, where a person's actual ability or genuine desire is being held back by circumstances, habits, or fears that are smaller than what they are capable of. The frustration is the pressure, and pressure, correctly read, reveals the direction in which relief and growth is located. The Mars-Mercury alignment of March 15th has a specific relationship with this kind of frustration as compass. Mars amplifies the felt experience of frustration, making it more vivid, more present, less easy to manage through the usual strategies of patience and distraction. This can initially feel uncomfortable, but the amplification is purposeful. It is making the compass harder to ignore. The direction the frustration is pointing has been present for some time, but it has been registerable at a low enough intensity that the person could continue moving around it rather than directly toward what it was indicating. Today, the signal becomes too strong to navigate around. Why some people feel unusually driven right now. If you have noticed a quality of unusual purposefulness in yourself or in people around you in the days surrounding March 15th, it is worth understanding what is producing it. The driven quality that the Mars-Mercury alignment generates is different from ordinary ambition or the anxious productivity of someone trying to outrun their circumstances. It has a more grounded character, less reactive, less frantic, more genuinely directional. People describe it as feeling pulled towards something, rather than pushed by something. The energy has a destination, rather than simply a velocity. This quality of being pulled rather than pushed is one of the most distinctive signatures of a genuine destiny window. In ordinary driven states, the energy comes from behind, from pressure, from fear of falling behind, from the competitive awareness of what others are achieving. In a destiny window, the energy comes from ahead, from a felt sense of something genuinely worth moving toward. something that the person has been in the process of becoming or building for a long time, and that is now close enough to be felt as a real gravitational pull, rather than a theoretical possibility. People who notice this quality of being pulled in the days around March 15th are receiving an accurate signal about the direction their next significant movement is waiting in. The behavior most associated with this driven quality is a natural reduction in the usual procrastination around meaningful work. People find themselves beginning things before they feel completely ready, not from recklessness, but from a quality of confidence in the direction that makes the usual need for perfect preparation feel less urgent. They start, and in starting, they discover that the momentum the alignment provides carries them further and more naturally than they expected from their own resources. The drive, in other words, is not entirely theirs to generate. March 15th is lending something to it, and what is borrowed from the alignment tends to be paid forward in the work itself. The window that closes before most people notice. Every alignment window has a closing, and the Mars-Mercury conjunction of March 15th is no exception. The quality of energetic support it provides, the dormant courage it activates, the clarity it lends to decisions, the permission it grants to stalled plans, is specific to this window. It does not disappear entirely when the window closes, but it returns to the background from which it briefly emerged, no longer as immediately available as it was during the days of the alignment's peak. The window is generous while it is open, but it is also finite, and most people realize it has passed only in the days that follow, when they notice that the particular ease and drive of March 15th has gently subsided. The people who use this window most fully tend not to be the ones who are most prepared for it. They are the ones who are most present to it, who noticed the particular quality of the day and trusted what their interior was offering, rather than dismissing it as unusual mood or unexplained confidence. Presence is the primary requirement for making use of an alignment window. Not preparation, not special knowledge, not any particular spiritual practice. Simply the willingness to notice what the day is offering, and to act from that noticing with a little more trust than usual in what arises. What tends to close before most people notice is not the alignment itself. That is visible on any astrological calendar, but the specific interior permission it provides. The window in which beginning something difficult feels natural. The window in which a hard conversation feels possible. The window in which a stalled plan finds its first step. These are the closings that matter most practically, and they are subtle enough to be missed by anyone moving through March 15th at the usual pace of an ordinary day. This is what Miss India Monroe means when she says that destiny windows are not dramatic. They are simply available. And availability, as with most genuinely valuable things, tends to be temporary. March 15th will pass the way all significant days pass, by becoming the 16th, then the 17th, and then a date receding into the ordinary distance of recent history. The alignment will separate. Mars will continue its orbit. Mercury will resume its own. And the particular quality of combined energy that made today worth paying attention to will dissolve back into the larger movement of celestial patterns, available again in a different configuration at a different time. But what was done with the window, or what was noticed within it, does not dissolve on the same schedule. The conversation that was finally had continues to reverberate. The decision that was finally made continues to unfold. The plan that found its first step continues to move, carrying the momentum of the moment it began. This is how alignment windows work in the practical architecture of a life. They provide a concentrated occasion, and what is built during the occasion outlasts the occasion itself. You don't need to have done anything grand today for this window to have mattered. The small noticing counts. The private acknowledgement of what the alignment revealed about your next direction counts. the moment of dormant courage that flickered, even briefly, into visibility. That counts too. Miss India Monroe often says that destiny is not made in single dramatic moments, but in the accumulation of small, honest ones. And March 15th, in its quiet, purposeful way, offered several of those. Whatever you did with them, or are still in the process of doing, is already, in its own unhurried way, enough.